Hi everyone. I have been MIA for a minute because of the house here that I closed. Was it 4 months ago? 4 or 5 months? And I've been tirelessly working on it. I have gotten so thin from working every morning and every night to make it what I wanted. But today I just want to run over how I got this house in this crazy market, how I lucked out, and some of the stuff that I've learned along the way. So, if you guys need to see pictures of the renovation, because I did not do any of the videos, to be honest, I didn't do any videos of me doing this stuff, mainly because I haven't done it before. And I kind of felt like if I was recording, I wouldn't have given the time and attention that it needed. And I probably would have been a mess because a lot of these things, plumbing, floor work, all of that, I've never done before, and it needed my undivided attention. So I didn't record any, but I have before and after pictures, which I will eventually post on here when I do give you a rundown of the different things I did. So I'll show, I'll add some before and after. But for now, I'm just going to go through how I was able to get this house in this crazy market. If you want to see just a few of the pictures of what it looks like now, if you're not on like my Facebook or stuff, my Instagram is Brave Design 86. So you can go on there and you can see the actual house. But it is close to 1,700 square feet. It is a brick house. It was built in the 1920s. Very, very solid house. Now, I don't know which of the families that lived here. I think or maybe have been 3 or 4. Neglected the leak in the bathroom, so there was some damage to the floor joists in there. So I had to address that. But before we go into that, because I'll go into that in the next video. But basically, I've been looking because where we were, it was, the rent just kept going up. I've lived there for less than a whole year, and the rent went up twice. It went up like a month after I was in there, and then there was an announcement that it was going to go up again the next lease period. So I was like, you know what, it's time to look for something. We can do it, but I prefer to have something that I can call my own and do things to, and also have all the things that I wanted. So the non-negotiables, I needed storage, had to have a basement, had to have an attic, had to be brick, off-street parking, no duplexes, because I don't like living so close to people, and also not super close to the street. I don't like houses that are like smack you step off the road or the sidewalk you're in the house. I don't like those. And I wanted a decent sized porch and a backyard. Fence in backyard would be nice, but that wasn't something that was a non-negotiable. But anyway, so I started looking, and it's a good thing I had a great relationship with my real estate agent. He used to be my landlord, so of course, all I needed to do was just reach out to him. He started showing me houses. Some of the houses I would find on my own on Zillow. Some he would have recommendations based on his website that they use. But a lot of the first ones I fell in love with, and he's like, nope, you don't want that. This one had a history of powder beetles. This one had a history of termite issues. You go in the basement. I remember this one is really beautiful. It's like 120 years old, but the stairs were tiny. The people did the work themselves, and it was kind of terrible. And then the basement, you had to be like this. It was like maybe 5 feet. And then it was wet. It was one of them basements that's always going to be wet. And then the floor support beams were like actual halves of trees, and they were kind of a mess. Then we started looking at more stuff, and the prices were ridiculous, and the inventory was horrible. I mean, some of these houses, I'm like, even if you sold me for 100,000, I would not buy it. It's just a mess. It's outdated. The rooms have weird designs. I remember one bathroom, it was totally designed for maybe someone disabled, but it's like a type, I don't know, maybe it was done in the 50s. I don't know. It was pink tile. The door was one of them accordion door things. I'm like, and this is going for $260. Okay. And it was a rancher, and it dipped from the road. So the street is like here. It goes all the way down in the deep drop. Then the rancher is there. Then the basement, it's not even livable. It was weird. It was a creepy house. And I was going for $260, and I think it sold for $280. So whoever bought it, they waived the inspection, and they also had to pay extra because the mortgage wouldn't cover it because it didn't appraise. So I found it. Well, he told me about this in another house. These were older people that were looking to one wanted to move out of state, one wanted to go to like a smaller apartment. The one going to smaller apartment, the house was much newer. It was like built in the 80s. It was a split level, bigger house, bigger property, more taxes. So he was like, this, you might not be able to afford this, even though you are pre-approved for 240. You might not want to put your savings, which was, I think I had like 50. You might not want to put that on there because there is going to be stuff that you're not going to like and you're going to want to change. I'm like, okay, I get it. So this one, he was like, but there's one I know you would like. It's a brick house. Guy's in his 70s. Wife passed away. He just want to move out of state. He doesn't want to go through the whole listing and all that stuff. But he's like, in this situation, I can't be both for you and him. I can't represent both of y'all. So whatever prices you discuss or you tell me, I have to go by. If you tell me you can pay $1 million, I have to tell him that you can pay $1 million. So do not discuss that with me. Have that talk with a financial advisor or make your own. So we both went and looked at the market and what the last house here sold for. But the last one here sold for like 230 and it had a lot of renovations. So he's like, okay, we are comfortable with about 205 so far. We're going to start at 205, him and the owner. And I was like, to make it sound a little better, let's go 206. He's like, okay. So he told him about 7 p.m. and by 9 p.m. he called me. He's like, the guy accepted the offer. So now the tedious process of getting all my paperwork done. Contract was already written up. I had to go back and review some more paperwork. The good thing about it is the mortgage was processed through their company. So it was a lot easier because a lot of things were electronic. I didn't have to go in a lot. They ran my credit. They ran my work history. They called up the companies, all of that. And what was great was that I haven't picked up from my part-time job in a long time. But for the couple of months before that, I was picking up a lot. And even like right after, for a whole 4 months, I was picking up every weekend. So that worked in my favor. And also because I got it at 206, I only had to take on like 184,000, and still didn't max out my reserves to reach the 206. It was amazing. And so once I got all of that done, of course, my anxiety, chipped in because I had to do the appraisal. And fortunately, unlike a lot of what goes on, this appraised 6,000 over what I got it for. So that was amazing. So of course, mortgage companies doesn't jump in at that. I checked out the house. I waived my inspection, but I also know a lot of things. I may not be able to properly inspect the house, but I knew what I was looking for. I was looking for structural. I was looking for a lot of structural stuff, water damage, that kind of thing, termite issue. I was looking for all of that. And once I did not see any of that, then I was like, okay, fine, I can waive this as long as he gets me a home warranty. So I did that. And then I kept coming over here. I started painting. Of course, I started discovering stuff. But yeah, closing day. Of course, I was very anxious to closing day. I kept checking my email every day, sometime every hour on the hour, to see if they said clear to close. It was taking a while. I saw they ran my credit again. I'm like, Jesus Christ. We've already given notice that we're moving out. What if this doesn't go through? What if something pops up? What if some loan or because I've also had issues with taxes not coming out or owing taxes in places I didn't live. So I'm like, what if these things pop up in my credit report and they pull the rug from under me? Now, a lot of people were telling me, don't buy anything, don't take out any car. I'm like, listen, even if I had $1 million, I probably would not. I would either pay for it or do without. I don't like loans. So that was not a thing for me. But I got the clear to close a week before. Clear to close was pretty fast because I'm a fast signer. That's what I do for work every day. Every time I see a person, I got to sign a bunch of stuff. And clearing to close closing itself was maybe 20 minutes, if that. But to me, my process was a lot easier than a lot of people because a lot of people told me it was going to be extremely stressful. It's chaotic. It's a lot of stress. It was stressful waiting for the approval. I'm not going to lie. That was very depressing waiting for it. But in terms of submitting a lot of documents, it wasn't that hard. I was able to pull my pay stubs. I was able to scan all my W-2s. I was able to do all that electronically. Every time they would send something to me, and that's another thing to be prompt. The longer you take to submit stuff is the longer the underwriter has to wait, or the person wait. If they're sending it to the underwriter, they got to wait. Then they got to send it to the underwriter, hoping that the underwriter is available to review the document. So I was over the top. If I got an email 8 a.m. saying, could you please resend your pay stubs? By 8:05, my pay stubs are in. If they wanted a bank statement, I would get, I sent over, in fact, I've sent over, my God, so many duplicates. So they're like, okay, you're good. We have everything we need. And if we need a supplementary one, we'll let you know. They didn't need that. Another thing too, all this time, my credit has not moved from 762 since the pandemic. It used to be 780, but I had paid off a credit card. And what have happened was, ever since I paid it off, my credit fell. And no matter how much I pay on it or whatever, it just would not go back up. But I guess that was just the one from my bank, because when I got my credit officially, my I don't remember which one, but the hard pull, it showed it was 805. So of course, my mortgage rate was decent. Of course, 6.25, considering what it used to be, is not that great. But for now, that is wonderful, because now it's heading to the sevens, and that's a hot mess. Now, in the future, I hope that it goes back down and I can refinance. I would love to have like a 4%. That way I can pay a lot more on my principal. But yeah, it was stressful. But you know, it was worth it. Now I come home and I just feel like home. I don't worry about, is he going to renew the lease next year? Because I've been through a lot of stuff with landlords. There is no worries of, is he going to renew the lease? Is he going to want to come in here and do an inspection? Is he going to want to change stuff or whatever? Now the rent's paid. Everything's okay. If I want to change something, I'm over at Home Depot before I finish a thought. But please let me know if you guys are looking, if there's any questions you wanted to ask. I know I didn't script this, so there's a lot I may have passed over. If you guys would like to open up the conversation about how messy the market is and the garbage that is on the market, or to see the before and afters, as I said, just go to Brave Design 86 on Instagram. I think I might leave my email. I stopped doing that for a while because I was getting a lot and I couldn't keep up, but I'll put my email under this video, so you can probably email me if you want to ask something personal. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video.